Sup guys, it's boy Justin with another Fantasy Month review. Today we're reviewing a special book, Doombreaker Volume 1 by Blue Deep. I couldn't find credits for anybody else. I assume that's the name of the team who wrote this webtoon. A webtoon comic that got published like physically. I couldn't believe that. So this is published by Webtoon Unscrolled, which initially was released digitally in 2021. This came out physically this year. It goes for 20 US, 25 Canadian, right? And this is a fantasy Korean manhwa as they're called. And usually I don't read and review webtoons because the art is for these books are usually trash. They're better than indie comics. I would be lying if I said that it was worse than indie comics. It's not. It's better than indie comics. But yeah, usually, these comics are release free, so you kind of can't give them too much of a hard time for the art, but the art starts off kind of good, except for the faces look kind of, weak. But yeah, the book is about basically the last human getting killed by the demon lord Tartarus, right? And we get a brief summary of what has happened. Basically, humanity lost the war against the demons. And this reminded me of the Hellboy reboot, by the way. And there's only one warrior left, Sephiroth, who's the last surviving human. And he gets killed by Tartarus. But not before getting killed by Tartarus. He uses a magic attack, which there is swearing in the book. He gives him the finger. And damages Tartarus, and Tartarus loses his hand. So the main character dies and is given a deal by the gods to basically come back to life and be given new skills. But the drawback is he has to go back 10 years in the past, which he's supposed to be 30 at this point. But by the way, that sword, if you're a Dark Souls fan, you should know what that sword looks a lot like. It looks a lot like the Moonlight Greatsword from Kingsfield and Dark Souls. Obviously, he's pissed off at this deal because Sephiroth doesn't like how the gods abandoned humanity, which. And basically, the reason why, one of the reasons why Sephiroth is given this deal is because, one, the gods were entertained by his struggle, and two, this guy Tartarus is a sore loser who shows up to the heavens, making him, hey, I want a do-over. This asshole screwed over my perfect score, which is so dumb. So yeah, he goes back 10 years in the past, and he's a slave miner to a temple. Apparently, adventurers, he was an adventurer, who get into debt and can't afford healing, have to work off their debts as miners for the church. And then we find out he's granted a lot of skills by the gods, but a lot of the skills he's been granted have are like double-edged swords. Like the one skill he has, iron skin or whatever, which gives him like a stat boost. But then if he ever runs out of mana, like he'll get all the damage that he sustained all at once. So he almost gets killed by it. So yeah, the main story is he basically is trying to rise up through the temple so he can get the hell out of there so he can get strong and prepare for the Tartarus and prepare against Tartarus and make sure humanity wins the war against the demons. So he does this by tricking, because apparently not only are there adventurers working as miners, but there's also adventurers working as adventurer slaves working as dungeon hunters. So he tells the temple about a kobold nest and has these guys go in to kill them, and sticks around only for it to turn out that there was something more dangerous than kobolds there. We have a big ass monster called a predator. So, and our main character is able to defeat the predator one-on-one, which the design for the predator is pretty cool. But yeah, it's basically like a dog version of the predator from Aliens, kind of. Aliens and Predators. Fuck. It's the same people own that shit, right? So yeah, after this, he's able to switch teams from being a miner to adventurer, only for him to become the target of the Inquisition, because there are Tartarus worshippers that infiltrated the temple, and there's supposed to be a huge raid in a month where the church is going to go after this magical item, and it's because of this magic item being lost and taken by the Tartarus worshippers that was the first major defeat of humanity, right? So our main character wants to be a part of that team, so he can ensure that the item doesn't get lost. And he also ends up pissing off the Inquisition, who gets manipulated by this guy who's an actual Tartarus worshipper. And the book ends with our main character going on an adventure with his new team and taking down spiders. So that's it for this book. So what did I think about this Korean manga? Sorry, Korean manhwa or webtoon. One, obviously the art is a little weak at times, especially the backgrounds later on. The backgrounds are very weak. But at least it's in color. You gotta give it credit for that. And it is a beefy book. Like, it's almost 300 pages, but it only took me a little over an hour to read. I pretty much read the whole thing start to finish this morning before I had to go to work. And it reminded me a lot of Rise of the Shield Hero, especially that part where people are like the main character does the what's it called? I forget what it's called. It's some Ayn Rand bullshit, but it's basically Sigma grind. He's very Sigma grind, where he'll manipulate people to get what he wants and shit like that. But yeah, I don't like when people put video game bullshit in fantasy stories, and there are video game bullshit in this fantasy story, especially with the skills. The skills, the screens, the tank, they use MMO terminology. But other than that, I thought this was a good read, and I thought he was a good protagonist. So yeah, I would give this a solid 6.5 out of 10. It's a bit pricey for what it is, but I would say it's worth a read. If you're a fan of webtoons, you can read this for free anyway online. So it's at least I think you can read webtoons online for free. Isn't that the case? I heard that was the case. I don't read webtoons, or if I do, it's on Scanlation. So yeah, that's it for this review, guys. Also, I was at the comic book store. I called the guy, and he had Astrobots issue 5, so I'm going to continue reviewing Astrobots in December. But yeah, I also picked up another Conan the Barbarian book. I was gonna get the Ablaze omnibus, but I couldn't. I only had $50, and I wanted to get some other shit. So yeah, but yeah, this is published by Marvel, by the way. So yeah, it looks cool. You can see the art in the back. The art's not too bad. But yeah, apparently Marvel was so bad with the Conan license, they lost it. But you know, it looks cool. Hopefully, it's good. Well, this isn't the next review, by the way. I'm just saying. The next review is probably going to be either Lady Death Boundless Quest Volume 1 or Aerosmith, whichever I feel like reading. Alright, guys, peace.